The moment the world saw a U.S. Army sergeant dance with First Lady Melania Trump, hearts instantly melted. It was an image that carried both charm and surprise. Oops, did Trump like it? Now, that very sergeant is finally sharing what went through his mind during that unforgettable night. This was not just a dance. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience filled with nerves, pride, and a touch of unexpected surprise. But the question still lingers, how did the president react to it? And why have both the press and the public been unable to stop talking about it ever since? The dance that stopped the nation. It was meant to be nothing more than tradition. The commander-in-chief's ball, glitzy, choreographed, and predictably patriotic. The event was one of those carefully structured ceremonies that blend the pomp of state with the pride of the armed forces. But in the middle of all the precision and planned moments, something unexpected happened. Under the blazing lights, in front of millions watching on television and streaming online across the globe, First Lady Melania Trump extended her hand to a U.S. Army sergeant almost no one outside military circles had ever heard of, Sergeant Henry Waller. He did not flinch. He did not fumble. With quiet confidence, he stepped forward, took her hand, and for the next 45 seconds, the nation could not look away. Was it the elegance of the moment? The awkward sweetness? The sheer novelty of a soldier suddenly turned viral star, waltzing with the First Lady of the United States while cameras flashed and phones recorded every movement? Whatever the reason, it struck a deep chord with viewers. And then he was gone. For years, the man behind the uniform remained silent. There were no interviews, no public social media posts, nothing beyond that brief and unforgettable spin across the stage. Until now. In a world where instant reactions dominate and 15 seconds of fame can make or break reputations, why did this Army sergeant wait nearly 7 years before speaking? What was he thinking in that surreal moment? What did it mean to him, and what did it come to symbolize for the millions who watched? This, after all, was more than just a story about a dance. It became a story about honor, symbolism, virality, and the unpredictable ways quiet heroes can be pulled into the national spotlight without warning. Henry Waller is finally breaking his silence, and his account is worth every second of the wait. Dance with me? After years of keeping his story private, Sergeant Henry Waller has finally stepped forward, offering insight, reflection, and the quiet dignity that defines his service. In his long-awaited interview, he opened up about the night that changed his life and what it truly meant to him. When asked why he accepted the First Lady's invitation to dance, Waller simply smiled and replied, "At that moment, it wasn't about politics or publicity. It was about respect. Respect for my country, my uniform, and the honor of sharing a moment with the First Lady herself." The decision, he explained, was spontaneous but rooted in a soldier's instinct to rise to any occasion. He described the experience as surreal, admitting he never expected the overwhelming attention that followed. "Honestly, I was focused on representing the military with pride. The dance was brief, but the impact has been long-lasting." Despite the sudden flood of attention, Waller stressed that his commitment to service remained unchanged. Addressing rumors and speculation, Waller was clear. There was no rehearsed choreography or hidden message behind the dance. It was simply a gracious gesture and a moment of connection. He dismissed overinterpretations of body language or facial expressions, reminding audiences that sometimes a dance is just a dance. Beyond the viral fame, Waller reflected on the emotional weight of representing the military in such a public setting. Wearing the uniform is about more than appearances. It's about sacrifice, honor, and duty. That night, I felt the weight of all those ideals, knowing I stood not just for myself, but for every soldier who serves. His family's reaction was a mix of surprise and pride. My parents couldn't believe it when the video went viral, but they've always supported my service. This moment was a tribute to them too. For Waller, the dance remains a reminder of the unexpected ways life can spotlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Inaugural festivities. Every 4 years, Washington, D.C., transforms into the heart of American celebration and tradition. The presidential inauguration is not merely a political event. It is a carefully orchestrated spectacle blending history, ceremony, and a touch of pageantry. Among the week's many official events, the Commander-in-Chief's Ball stands out as one of the most prestigious, bringing together military personnel, government officials, and distinguished guests for an evening of honor and celebration. Held in the grandeur of the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, the ball is a night where discipline meets elegance. The room glimmers under crystal chandeliers, with walls adorned in stars and stripes. A stage is prepared for speeches, live performances, and ceremonial moments. Military members from every branch, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, gather in full dress uniform, ribbons and medals gleaming under the soft light. For many service members, it is a rare opportunity to relax the rigid posture of duty, to enjoy camaraderie, and to feel the lighter side of military life. The atmosphere is charged yet respectful. Conversations hum politely, laughter mingles with the clinking of glasses, and the air carries the faint scent of polished leather boots mixed with fresh floral arrangements. The arrival of the President and First Lady signals the formal beginning. Melania Trump, known for her poise and grace, plays a vital role in these settings. Her presence is not simply decorative, she serves as a bridge between civilian government and the military community. A handshake, a word of thanks, or even a dance with a service member becomes rich with symbolism, expressions of gratitude, respect, and unity. For Sergeant Henry Waller, that evening began like any other formal duty. The buzz of anticipation filled the air as cameras and reporters positioned themselves for key moments. Soldiers straightened collars, adjusted ties, and checked medals. No one, including Waller, knew that this would be the night he stepped briefly into the national spotlight. When the music swelled and the First Lady moved through the crowd, the polished wooden dance floor gleamed under the spotlights. Gowns swirled, medals caught the light, and the mood balanced somewhere between ceremonial and celebratory. Then it happened. Melania Trump, moving gracefully through the room, paused. Her gaze landed on Waller, standing tall and composed in his dress blues. Without a word, she extended her hand, a simple gesture, but one carrying layers of significance. Waller, ever the disciplined soldier, accepted without hesitation. For those 45 seconds, time seemed suspended. The dance was unplanned, unrehearsed, and wholly authentic. In that moment, Waller became more than just another soldier in the lineup. He became a living representation of the respect and bond between the nation's leaders and its armed forces. Henry Waller's journey to that stage began far from the grandeur of Washington, D.C. Born and raised in a small Texas town, he grew up steeped in the values of duty, service, and pride in his country. Influenced by relatives who had served, he felt drawn to the military from an early age. After high school, he enlisted in the U.S. Army, determined to commit himself to something larger than himself. His career was marked by steady progress through the ranks, his leadership style defined by calmness under pressure, reliability, and grounded judgment. All traits that served him well when the spotlight unexpectedly turned his way. When he received the invitation to the Commander-in-Chief's ball, Waller viewed it as part of his role, to represent his unit and the Army at one of the nation's most prestigious gatherings. He donned his class A uniform with pride, brass buttons gleaming and medals aligned, each one a testament to service and sacrifice. The aftermath of the dance surprised Waller as much as the moment itself. The clip spread across television news, late-night talk shows, and social media platforms. People analyzed every gesture and smile, debated its significance, and turned a short dance into a lasting piece of inauguration folklore. Through it all, Waller stayed silent, choosing to let the moment speak for itself. Now, years later, he emphasizes that the essence of that night was simple: respect, service, and the willingness to rise when called, even in unexpected ways. For a split second, it felt as though the entire grand ballroom had been suspended in time, as if the flow of events paused just long enough for one man to make a choice that would quietly ripple across the nation. Officer Henry Waller, a disciplined and composed U.S. Army sergeant, felt the sudden jolt of surprise when First Lady Melania Trump extended her hand toward him. That moment of astonishment was fleeting. Almost immediately, it was replaced by something steadier, something deeply ingrained, quiet resolve. Without hesitation, without fumbling for words, he stepped forward, closing the space between them, and took her hand. What followed next was not part of any schedule, nor was it choreographed by staff or anticipated by the cameras. It was pure, unscripted magic. The warm glow of the ballroom lights poured down over the pair, giving the moment a golden haze. Photographers were ready, but even they seemed caught by the unexpected elegance of what was unfolding. Cameras flashed rapidly, capturing frame after frame of the surreal image. An American soldier in full dress blues, ribbons and medals gleaming, swirling gently with the First Lady of the United States. Their movements, though not perfectly timed or polished, carried a balance between formality and genuine warmth. It wasn't the precision of a practiced dance floor routine. It was the careful, respectful motion of two people finding a shared rhythm in real time. Waller led her not as a commander issues orders, but as a man simply following the music, letting the moment shape their steps. All around the room, conversations faltered into whispers. Guests exchanged knowing smiles, subtle glances, and murmured observations. The unexpected pairing was a quiet delight to witness. The dance itself lasted only seconds, 45 at most, but it left an outsized impression on every soul who watched it. It was long enough to create intimacy between the two dancers, yet public enough to be observed and later dissected by millions online. And as if in unison, social media lit up. Twitter timelines filled with the clip, TikTok creators began slicing and re-editing it with trending audio, and Instagram Reels replayed the same few seconds of the twirl over and over again. Every share seemed to multiply the moment's reach. The captions varied, some playful, some reverent, but the fascination was universal. People weren't only charmed by the dance itself, they were drawn to what it seemed to represent, a rare humanizing glimpse into the connection between military service and civilian leadership at the very highest level. For Waller himself, the moment passed quickly. There was no lingering embrace, no lingering conversation, just a smooth ending to the music and a polite return to his place. He shook a few hands, exchanged brief nods with fellow attendees, and carried on with the rest of the event as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. What he did not know at the time was that the footage, carried instantly by the algorithms of the modern internet, would follow him far beyond those ballroom walls. Within mere hours, the Commander-in-Chief's ball dance had transformed from a small, fleeting event into a global sensation. View counts climbed into the millions with breathtaking speed. Hashtags formed and trended, memes popped up that nicknamed Waller, the first dance hero, and TikTok creators injected humor, awe, or playful commentary into remixed versions of the footage. Instagram users turned the twirl into an endlessly looping GIF, its charm never seeming to diminish. The public reaction was a cocktail of amusement, admiration, and curiosity. For many, the dance was a reminder that beneath the crisp military posture and the political formality, there are real people capable of warmth, spontaneity, and shared joy. Here was a soldier, stoic, serious, and committed, suddenly part of a tender, almost cinematic exchange with a first lady. News outlets from the most respected networks to casual entertainment blogs picked it up as a heartwarming highlight of the inauguration celebrations. But with viral fame came the inevitable shadow of scrutiny. Some pundits questioned whether the moment was truly spontaneous or part of a carefully crafted public image. Others dissected the body language and facial expressions of both Waller and Melania, crafting speculative narratives about deeper meanings or hidden messages. A few critics dismissed it altogether as trivial compared to the more serious political matters surrounding the Trump administration at the time. Waller, for his part, stayed silent. He granted no interviews and issued no public statements. 4 years afterward, his identity in the public sphere was defined entirely by that short clip, a digital echo of a night where history and happenstance had collided. The media buzz, however, was not only about him. The dance became an unexpected moment of focus on Melania Trump herself. For much of her tenure as First Lady, Melania had been viewed by many as reserved, even enigmatic. Often, her image was overshadowed by the towering and controversial persona of her husband. Her influence, visibility, and engagement with traditional First Lady duties had been subjects of debate among journalists and political commentators alike. But moments like this, a direct, warm engagement with a member of the armed forces, allowed the public to see a different side. For some, her extended hand to Waller was a gesture that humanized her in an instant. Social media users praised her poise, grace, and warmth. They saw in the dance a symbolic bridge between political power and military service, a gesture of respect and unity. For others, skepticism lingered. Critics argued that it might have been a staged photo opportunity or a distraction from larger political controversies. Still others viewed it as a deliberate image-shaping move at a time when the administration faced deep polarization. Regardless of where one stood politically, it was hard to deny the effect. The dance added a new chapter to Melania's public narrative, a chapter that mixed elegance with authentic connection. It complicated the image of her as distant or disengaged, suggesting that she understood the power of small human gestures to resonate widely. The coverage also sparked broader discussions about the expectations placed on First Ladies in general. How much should they engage? When and in what ways? Melania's graceful moment on the dance floor became an example in those debates, proof that leadership, even symbolic leadership, could be expressed in ways that were understated yet powerful. Of course, the symbolism of the night was not carried by the dance alone. Every detail of Melania Trump's appearance was deliberate. Her gown, a flowing ivory creation with clean, understated lines, blended timeless grace with modern sophistication. The choice of ivory, a color often associated with purity and peace, was particularly striking given the politically charged atmosphere of the inauguration. It seemed to whisper a message of unity and respect. Fashion commentators noted how the gown's simplicity contrasted with the grandeur of the event, signaling humility without diminishing elegance. The soft, muted palette allowed her to move easily between ceremonial grandeur and approachable warmth, a visual harmony that paired perfectly with the gesture of inviting Waller to dance. Her accessories were minimal, her hair styled to frame her face naturally, and her makeup balanced to enhance without overwhelming. The entire presentation projected authenticity and calm dignity. Critics saw in her fashion choices a continuation of the First Lady tradition, echoing figures like Jacqueline Kennedy and Michelle Obama, who both used style as a subtle diplomatic language. In this case, the gown's flowing fabric seemed to mirror the themes of movement, grace, and connection, both in the literal act of dancing and in the figurative dance between politics and humanity. In the end, her dress and the dance became inseparable in the public memory, a dual symbol of grace meeting genuine human connection, preserved in photographs, video clips, and countless retellings. Yet Melania's role at the Commander-in-Chief's ball went far deeper than attire and a smile. As First Lady, she occupied a unique symbolic space between the nation's civilian leadership and its armed forces. Her presence at the ball was more than ceremonial, it was a direct expression of appreciation for those who serve. That night, her decision to approach and invite Sergeant Waller onto the floor was an act steeped in subtle diplomacy. In a room filled with rigid protocols and high-ranking figures, that handshake and invitation became a humanizing gesture, one of unity, warmth, and recognition. Observers remembered her calm, deliberate walk across the dance floor, her eyes scanning the room before landing on Waller. They remembered the way she extended her hand, not as a grand performance, but as if offering a shared moment of dignity and respect. For Waller, it was a brief step out of his soldier's posture and into a space of unplanned connection. For everyone watching, it was a reminder that sometimes, in the middle of pomp and circumstance, the most powerful memories are made in the unscripted seconds. The dance itself was a brief yet powerful symbol of connection, softening the often rigid divide between military formality and the personal humanity of those in uniform. It was more than just a few steps in time to music. It was an intersection of tradition, ceremony, and emotion, embodied in the graceful figure of the First Lady moving in unison with a soldier who represented the countless men and women serving the nation. For many observers, the image of the First Lady dancing with an enlisted soldier was a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by service members and the importance of civilian leaders recognizing and honoring that commitment in ways that resonate far beyond political speeches or official proclamations. This singular act communicated a message that words alone could not. It was a visual testament to respect, gratitude, and national unity. The media coverage that followed only amplified the symbolic weight of the moment. While political narratives often dominate headlines, dividing attention and framing every act through the lens of partisanship, this dance offered a rare, apolitical moment of shared humanity. Melania Trump's gesture resonated strongly with audiences across the political spectrum, many of whom saw it as a nod to tradition, elegance, and the enduring ties that bind the country's leaders and defenders. In the broader context of inaugural celebrations, such moments have a way of bridging social and institutional gaps, building goodwill, and reminding people that beneath the titles, uniforms, and layers of political theater, we all share a common identity and purpose. At first glance, a short dance between a First Lady and a soldier might seem like nothing more than a fleeting, ceremonial gesture, an expected part of the pomp surrounding an inauguration. But beneath the surface, Sergeant Henry Waller's dance with Melania Trump struck a powerful chord with a nation hungry for moments of unity and genuine humanity. In a polarized political climate, where headlines so often pit citizens against each other and policy debates dominate the public square, this dance stood apart as something refreshingly different. It became a symbol of connection between civilian leadership and the military backbone of America. It reminded people that beyond the noise of politics, there are still shared values that unite: respect, service, and patriotism. The dance also revealed a softer, less formal side of power. Too often, the military is seen exclusively through the lens of discipline, duty, and hierarchy, while political leaders are viewed as figures of policy, rhetoric, and calculated positioning. But in those few minutes on the dance floor, both sides were humanized. This was not about rank or political agenda. It was about two individuals sharing a moment of respect and recognition. Experts in symbolism and military culture have long pointed out that moments like these carry outsized importance. Rituals and gestures like these serve as bridges, says Dr. Emily Hartman, a sociologist specializing in political symbolism. They reaffirm the social contract between leaders and those who serve, boosting morale and fostering national cohesion. And in today's digital age, the viral nature of the dance added yet another dimension to its significance. In an era where many viral moments feel manufactured or superficial, this one resonated precisely because it felt authentic and spontaneous. It reminded people that even the most scripted events can produce moments of genuine human connection. For Sergeant Waller, the dance became a defining moment in his career, transcending his military role and personalizing his service for millions who saw the footage. For the public, it was a small but potent symbol of hope, a reminder that sometimes, a shared smile and a graceful spin on the dance floor can communicate far more than a lengthy speech ever could. Throughout American history, moments when First Ladies dance with military officers have captured public attention, becoming symbolic gestures of respect, unity, and tradition. Often held at formal military balls or inaugural events, these dances serve as poignant reminders of the close relationship between the nation's leadership and those who serve in uniform. They reflect more than just social customs. They underscore the mutual admiration and shared commitment to the country's values. From Eleanor Roosevelt during World War II to Michelle Obama at various military events, First Ladies have embraced their roles as ambassadors of grace and diplomacy, using these dances as opportunities to honor military personnel and boost morale. These events bring warmth and humanity into the otherwise rigid protocols of military formality. They symbolize a bridge between civilian leadership and the armed forces, providing a personal touch to ceremonial occasions. Such moments often go viral not only for their elegance but for the genuine connection they display and the patriotic narratives they inspire. They remind audiences that, beyond the theater of politics, there exists a profound camaraderie between First Ladies and military officers. This camaraderie reflects the core values of service, respect, and national pride that bind Americans together across political divides. Sergeant Waller's dance with Melania Trump was not an isolated occurrence. It was part of a broader narrative carefully crafted by administrations to convey strength, unity, and respect for the military. The Trump White House quickly recognized the symbolic power of the moment and embraced it as a positive, uplifting highlight amid a politically charged atmosphere. Although former President Donald Trump did not speak at great length about the dance, his team positioned it as an example of the administration's commitment to honoring the armed forces. Public statements framed the event as a testament to the respect shown to military personnel under his leadership. Social media channels affiliated with the White House amplified clips of the moment, praising Sergeant Waller's professionalism and Melania Trump's poise. Behind the scenes, aides saw the dance as a subtle yet effective piece of political theater. Without grand speeches or policy rollouts, it showcased the First Lady's elegance and the administration's bond with the military. Trump has long cultivated a public image as a staunch supporter of the armed forces, frequently highlighting veterans' issues and increasing defense spending. In this context, the viral dance, though brief, reinforced this aspect of his persona in a way that was both highly visual and easily shareable. To critics, the moment was dismissed as a distraction from deeper political controversies. But to supporters, it was a sincere, uplifting interaction that underscored the importance of honoring service members in both symbolic and tangible ways. Looking back through history, many such ceremonial gestures have captured the public imagination, becoming part of the national story. From Eisenhower shaking hands with soldiers returning from World War II to Barack Obama dancing with military families at the White House, these scenes transcend politics and reaffirm the social contract between leaders and those who serve. The Trump administration's moment at the Commander-in-Chief's ball fits comfortably within this tradition. While the political context of 2017 was markedly different from the eras of Eisenhower or Roosevelt, the core message remained constant, honoring service and unity between the military and the civilian leadership. In the digital age, these moments spread differently than they did in the past. Whereas photos and newsreels once served as the primary record, today's viral videos transform a simple dance into a shared cultural event almost instantly. Within hours, the Waller e Melania dance became a trending topic worldwide, discussed not only in American media but in outlets around the globe. Viewed through this modern lens, the dance was both a continuation of a historic tradition and a uniquely 21st-century phenomenon, a snapshot of tradition meeting the fast-moving world of social media, where symbolism and viral culture collide. Years after the music stopped and the cameras moved on, the moment still resonates, not merely as a viral video but as a lasting emblem of human connection in public life. It reminds us that history is often made in brief flashes, when formality meets spontaneity and connection overrides protocol. For Sergeant Waller, it became a cherished chapter in a career otherwise lived away from the public spotlight. More broadly, the dance is a testament to the enduring power of symbolic acts in politics and public life. In an age dominated by rapid news cycles and polarized discourse, such gestures speak volumes. They remind us that beneath the uniforms and titles, people share common values, aspirations, and humanity. The moment also invites reflection on the responsibility leaders have to honor service, not only through legislation and policy but also through personal, heartfelt gestures. It challenges citizens to see beyond political divides and to recognize the individuals who stand ready to defend the nation. Sergeant Waller's later reflections on the dance reveal yet another layer, the way public moments shape private lives. For those thrust unexpectedly into the spotlight, balancing the weight of newfound attention with ongoing service can be complex. And yet, such experiences reaffirm the bonds between the military and the public they serve. Finally, the legacy of that evening lies not only in the grace of the dance itself but in its enduring message. It calls on all Americans to recognize the quiet heroes in their midst and to appreciate the profound impact that even the smallest acts of connection can have on national consciousness. As Sergeant Waller himself put it, the evening was fantastic. A word simple enough to carry the joy, pride, and honor of representing the U.S. military on such a